welcome to the program. I'm Lana Kay. Well, let me ask you, who out there wants to lose weight? Well, that answer is all of us to some degree or another. Well, stay with us because help is on the way. We have some simple and easy tips that you can follow to help you on your weight loss plan. Please welcome our guest, Diane Mason. Welcome to the program, Diane.
Thank you, Lana Kay.
Diane's been with us several times. She is our Boone County Cooperative Extension Agent. And first of all, I want Diane to tell us exactly what that is.
We're the community outreach arm of the University of Kentucky, and we really work to improve the lives of Kentuckians.
And you are with Family and Consumer Science.
Right, I am one of the Family and Consumer Sciences agents. So we work with people everywhere from birth, we call it birth to death.
Okay.
All ages, all stages. In the areas of food and nutrition, financial management, parenting, housekeeping, house cleaning.
That's great. There are great programs and classes. The website will be up at the end of the show. She also writes a column once a week in our Boone County Recorder and our Florence Recorder. I never miss these articles. They're always filled with timely advice, things that can help us, and they're usually pretty simple. That's why I really loved her, the resolution to lose weight. She gave us simple tips that we can follow and live with and really come through. So Diane, let's start first of all with, I'm glad it's not the first of the year. We're into February now. And sometimes when the mirrored ball comes down, that first day of January hits, and we all know in the back of our mind what we need to do. Break the relationship, find a new job, lose weight, but we may not really be ready. And I think you really, whatever you want to start, and so if you miss when the ball came down and you missed the boat, now begin now. But you are going to have to mentally prepare yourself. Wouldn't you say that that's
Yes,
our
I think
first step?
You have to commit. And everybody is ready at a different time. And it's not always January 1st.
That's
but
right.
You have to start where you are, make a plan, and then implement your plan.
And follow through. So like I said, the article was so great, and these were simple things. Number one, why do we not want to say we're going to diet?
Diets don't work, and research has proved that. Most people, when we think of a diet, think, oh, I have to give something up. I can't have chocolate anymore, I'm not allowed to eat cake. And then when we start thinking about that, what do?
That's the first thing we want.
And we obsess about it until we go and we break our diet and we go right back to our old habits.
Or we start saying, okay, I'm going to we start missing meals and go. That's why we need the plan. We know that missing meals, we can even gain weight if we do that.
Yes, because you often skip a meal and then you're even more hungry for the next meal, so you tend to overeat.
Then we power eat. Okay, and so Diane, first of all, just one of your tips that to start us off, what would you say let's start with?
Well, I think we all have to realize that it takes around 3,500 calories to make 1 pound. So that's 1 pound off or 1 pound off, or 1 pound on. So even cutting back 100 calories a day for a year, you could lose 10 pounds.
Okay, and that's so realistic and doable. And that's
simple.
what we want to stay with.
So that's kind of what we'll talk about today is how can I skip that 100 calories?
Okay.
And one easy way, leave off the mayonnaise.
Okay.
A tablespoon of mayonnaise is about 100 calories.
Is that right?
So all you have to do is skip the mayonnaise on a sandwich.
Okay.
And maybe put ketchup or mustard or some other lower calorie condiment on.
Okay. Now, one of the favorite things that I like was you said we're visual creatures, and we can talk about the plate size, Diane.
Very much. We eat with our eyes. We tend to look at what we're eating, and then we go from there. Research has shown that if we eat from a smaller plate, we tend to eat less. Even though it's the same amount of food, we think we're getting more because it looks like more on the plate.
So is it important, and we want to make that appetizing?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
It needs to be colorful, it needs to be pretty, it needs to look like something we want.
Okay, and if we don't have, we still want to eat about half of what we've been eating if we have those big portions.
Depending on what you're eating and what the item is.
Okay.
But most of us are eating off of 9 to 12-inch plates. Most restaurants have gone to 12-inch plates, and we probably could eat from a salad plate. What would normally be a salad-sized plate.
And Diane, that's such a good point because I'm convinced that our buffets And our larger portions in restaurants, you know, combined with our fast food, has really put the pounds on America. I mean, this didn't happen in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
This has been progressively getting worse and worse as we began to go back and forth from the buffet. In the old days, you got your salad, a steak, and a baked potato when you went out. And I mean, and you were satisfied.
And how often did you go out?
And that's true, once a month.
It was a special treat, and
It
now
sure
it seems to be the everyday event.
Yes. So, okay, now you talk about, you gave some excellent tips. Okay, you say skip the chips with the sandwich, but just every other time.
If you really like chips,
Yeah, and that's so,
leave
you
it off
can still
periodically.
have them. And I'm thinking, this makes so much sense because my problem always is, you know, I feel deprived. When you say no chips, when you start saying, like you said, with the fad diet, no, that's when you start the craving, it seems like. And even on fries, what did you say in your article?
instead of getting a large fry, choose a small fry. And even if you choose a small fry, then maybe split it with a partner or a friend. So you're only eating half. And
So
that way
what-
you don't feel guilty if you throw it away.
That's true. And we're still, like you said, we're still enjoying fries.
Exactly.
You made a great point on our soft drinks that I had never thought of. So please share.
I had a friend who lost about 80 pounds simply by skipping from regular or switching from regular to diet soft drink. That's all he did in his eating routine. So it does show that we can drink a lot of our calories. An easy way to switch over from regular to diet, if that's the way you want to go, is to mix half regular and half diet.
That's what
So
I
you
love.
get used to the flavor. And hopefully sometimes you'll drink water, maybe every other time, and not always get a soda.
That's what you said. You've got to replace that caloric beverage at least once a day. Just vow to that. Just once a day, I'm going to do the water instead of my high-calorie beverage.
Right.
Diane, I like dessert because you didn't say, and there's another, I think that's another big mistake with diets when they just start adhering, no dessert. And then we do start craving chocolate, anything that we can think.
Whatever our favorite is.
Okay, so what is your suggestion there?
Eat a smaller portion, eat half. Instead of 2 cookies, have 1. Instead of a whole piece of cake, eat half of it.
And you still
Lots of
get
ways
that
to cut back.
sweet, and yet we're still cutting down those calories. So you say, will all this make a difference? People are saying, you know, will this really make a difference? And you say, you bet.
It will. Like I said, 100 calories a day less that you either take in less or exercise 100 calories off. You can lose 10 pounds in a year.
And it's so doable. This is not something that you're going to feel deprived, or you know, you eat so little that meal, the next meal you power eat, and it goes on and on. Okay, now you talked too about restaurants. This is a problem. This is where lots of people have been okay as long as they were preparing or someone at home was. But now we go to the restaurant, and there are great tips here that you can do and still enjoy your restaurant meals.
There are a lot of things restaurants do to try to get us to come back. And I think that we have to remember that they're in business and they want us to be a satisfied customer. So larger portions. We love it when we get a deal, especially if it's a $4.99 deal, all you can eat or something like that. A lot of times they'll bring us bread or chips to our table as a free sort of appetizer. So just ask them, please don't bring the bread, please don't bring the chips.
And then don't put the butter on them if you do, which there's where I go down right at the beginning because you're hungry when you sit down, and they do offer that bread or chips. And if it's not there, if you've just made the decision, I'm just eating the entree, I thought I'm going to do that because then I butter up, and which is even more calories. So
a lot of people think that some places will bring you oil, the oil mix with the vinegar instead of butter, and they think, oh, it's oil, it's okay. Well, oil has about as many calories, just a few more calories than butter does.
see, that usually happens in Italian restaurants, and there I am soaking it up
dip.
because the olive oil is so good for you. So I'm kidding myself with this is the way to go.
And it's a healthy oil, and it's not bad for you, but it can
It's
pack
full of
on
calories. It is. It truly is. And then you tell us too, even think about the restaurant you're going to before you go.
I think anytime you walk into a place, you need to have a plan. And you can go online to so many places these days and see what their menu is.
That-
And you can even check the calorie levels.
That is just excellent. I never thought when she said, plan when you're going to the restaurant, plan what you're going to eat before you get there. And it's something to look forward to, and you know you won't be going over it. You already have your mindset. I'm going to go for the more healthy way to go.
The 2 or
Now, again, you mentioned mayonnaise and cheese. Lay off of these. So these are, when you think about it, they're on a lot of our foods, aren't they?
Oh, we put cheese on almost everything in America, it seems. It's kind of funny if you really stop to think about it. So yes, a slice of American cheese, like on a burger, has about 70 calories. So I just round that up to 100.
Good
so you can
enough.
save
And then the mayo
calories. And
on
a
top of
tablespoon
that.
Tablespoon of mayonnaise, 100 calories.
So if we take both of those off and we put a mustard or, you know,
A salsa.
we've saved 200 calories.
Exactly.
Right there, and we still have the burger. And you know what else? I'm just going to throw this in. This is Atlanta K-tip. Is one piece of bread sometimes on your sandwich is just as good. In fact, you can even taste what's in the middle more than with the bread really overwhelms sandwiches. So I've gotten to, you know, so
Take a slice of the bread
take,
off.
and you still got a delicious sandwich.
And you'll save about 70 calories per slice of bread.
So there we are at almost 300 calories. One slice of bread, the mayonnaise, and the cheese. So snacks, you have to address these because we can do so good at the restaurant and so good at home, and then our snacks defeat us.
One of the biggest tips I can think of for snacking is don't eat out of the bag. Don't just take the big bag of potato chips over to the couch and sit down, because what happens?
We eat half the bag or all the bag.
We eat the whole thing, and then we wonder where it
Exactly.
went.
Exactly.
So portion out into a bowl, wrap the bag back up, put the clip back on, put it back up in the cabinet, go and eat the chips that you portioned out, or the pretzels, or whatever the item was.
If you're looking for something salty, now that is good, Diane, because most of us do. We get it out, the whole bag, and there's where we go down. Also, too, you being with the co-op, you know there's lots better ways of dips than just the dips. I mean, yogurt dressed up right can be really tasty. And so we can also work on that.
Right.
If you're getting the dip out of the fridge with that bag of chips on your way to the couch.
I'd rather see you have yogurt than, say, sour cream. Get a little bit more calcium, a little bit better fat profile.
Great.
Salsa is a great thing. Most salsa has about 15 calories.
And I love salt. So there's something
And
for us
it's
to
got
think
that
of.
spice. You can do mild, you can do spicy. Very simple, very easy, and the tomatoes and all the good vegetables in the salsa.
So in the article you mentioned, you know, think about when you're eating your snacks. Are you emotionally eating? You know, when are your down times when you're weak? So we need to address that.
And a lot of times I encourage people to keep a record. You know, at 5 o'clock I always stop and I get something, or 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I read a story one time where somebody came in through their garage and it entered into their kitchen, and they always, every time they walked in the kitchen, they grabbed something to eat. And they realized if they got out of their car, walked around to the front of their house, and entered through the front of their house, they didn't eat.
That
Because it
triggered
wasn't
their
a habit.
That triggered their habit. When they came in that side door, the habit was
The food is sitting out on the counter. And you can put fruits and vegetables out on the counter, so hopefully you'll grab an apple or banana instead of something else.
Because sometimes with emotional eating, isn't, Diane, we just want something to eat. It's not necessarily the cupcake, it's just we want to do something. So the carrots and the celery are much better for us, and we're doing something. We
Correct.
get to do our behavior, but in a healthier way.
Right. And the other thing is try to distract yourself. Give yourself 20 minutes before you eat. Go for a walk, sit down and sew, read a
Get
book,
your
do
mind off of it.
something so that you're not thinking about food. And that maybe that 20 minutes will help break that cycle too. But keeping a record is
It's great.
incredibly valuable.
I agree, because it lets you know your down spots and what to be careful of. Now, there are fat-free devil's food cookies that I have found
Are there?
that help, yes, and you can suck on these and get a whole lot of chocolate flavor for not much calories. So I've started that at night, or cocoa with fat-free milk.
Some hot
Is
chocolate.
a hot chocolate, exactly. It is a great chocolate tip, you know, to be lower calories, better for you all the way around. But you have to think these through and have them in the house,
Exactly.
because if you don't have them there,
You're going to go back to what you want. The other side of it is, a lot of times I think we think low fat means no calories, and that's not true. A lot of times companies will take fat out of an item and increase the sodium, or increase some other nutrient or some other ingredient or nutrient. So just be really careful and look at the food labels.
and a lot of people don't like the fat-free deal at all, because they know that there's something in there that's worse for you. So
So you have to make a choice. You know, do you want one really wonderful cookie, or do you want three not so great cookies?
yeah, that's a good point, Diane, because if we just are going to eat one, we can probably have the payoff is the same as with the three.
We call it your calorie salary. It's like you get money from your job, and that's your salary. We have a calorie salary too. We all have about the right amount of calories we should get in a day. And how do I want to spend those? Do I want to spend those on wonderful, tasty, delicious, good-looking food, or do I want to spend it on low-fat,
Kinda not
great,
exactly.
not so tasty food?
And maybe with other ingredients in there that are not as healthy.
Exactly.
So I think that's a great point, because I know some people don't, you know, they won't go the fat-free route at all. Now, it's important, I'm not going to say exercise, because that's like saying diet, because then we get turned off right away. But let's talk about get moving.
Okay. I like to call it intentional activity. How's that?
How's that? Intentional activity.
Because
okay.
I set out to do something. You know, a lot of people wear pedometers all day and they say, I walked 12,000 steps, but they don't realize that they really didn't get their heart rate up or didn't really get moving. And so, but if we set out to do intentional activity of some sort, hopefully for maybe 10 minutes at a time, we're much better off. Our goal is to try to get our heart pumping.
And that'll start the burn and decrease our appetite and help
Increase
us
our mood.
help us with depression. Absolutely great. And you have said, Lana, some people can go to the mall, that's their thing, and or you can go the outside route if you like to look around. But again, it's natural. It's a natural posture for us to walk. It's not doing any contortions or if we jog, we are hurting our joints. I mean, it's not for me. I already know that. But walking is something that we can do.
Walking is free. You can do it most anywhere. You can do it inside, outside, any type of weather. So we do encourage people to get up and moving. But the best exercise in the world, you ready?
Ready.
The one you're going to do.
Is?
The one you're going to do.
Is the one that you can stay with. That
Right,
again,
that
we're
you
making the
enjoy.
decision.
It could be swimming, it could be hiking, jogging, running, jumping, any kind of thing. But you need to enjoy what it is so that you look forward to it.
And I guess there are gym people that enjoy that. They want to
Exactly.
pull them. They want to do all the pulleys and sit-ups and the whole thing. So what you're going to do becomes the best for you.
Exactly.
Whatever you can stay with. Diane, that right there is excellent.
And
Because-
whatever time of day. If you're a morning person, do it in the morning. If you're a night person, do it at night. If you're a mid-morning, mid-afternoon, whatever, pick the right time of day that you can commit to doing something. For
That you-
most adults, we recommend 30 minutes of physical activity a day. For children, they're looking at 60 minutes.
60 minutes, really? It's that
For
much
good
different. It's okay. It's a double
It is
thing.
doubled.
Okay, now Diane followed up the resolution to lose weight with a really interesting article. And this was the follow-up. Are shoes that promise to tone you worth the hype? Okay, I'm going to have her explain this to us. And she means by those shoes that they say that they're going to help us with the back of our legs and our buttock area. Usually that's what they're targeting.
And they also
So-
target your core because you're somewhat off balance as you walk, and so it helps you kind of stand up straight. And if you look at them, they usually have a bow in the bottom of the shoe. And so you're not walking on level ground at that point. And they did some research out of the University of Wisconsin and found that those really aren't beneficial. They're not burning more calories, they're really not toning. And so you're probably better off just buying your regular shoes and making sure that you use them by doing some intentional
And
activity.
it is, when I read that, I tried those because who doesn't, want help? So I tried those, and the more I walked around the store, she is so right. I knew that was going to hurt me. It started really bothering me. And if you went a couple of miles in those, I mean, and some people, maybe, they find that they're great. But for me, I knew that was going to hurt. And I knew I didn't even feel, it just didn't feel right. I felt off balance. And so, I may have fell down in those shoes. So I was really surprised. Now, the problem was that they profess to be so great, but the companies that made the shoes did the test. So that's never, that's never sound advice. I mean, it's never proven advice. So I was
need to
very,
look at that. You need to look at who paid for the research.
yeah, go
But
ahead.
to follow up on that, my mother said something to her doctor, and of course my mother's a little bit older, and her doctor said, you stay off of those, because my mother already has some balance issues, and then to add those shoes into the mix, she would have been falling all over the place and possibly breaking a bone or being injured, which really concerned me. I was so happy he told her that.
Because I was so happy to read the article, but I had tried them, and they weren't for me. I could just tell that. So now, Diane, you have a lot of programs with the Cooperative Extension that can help us with our weight loss. And those are like, I know you have one that is like whole grain cooking.
We do a lot of healthy cooking programs, everything from fruits and vegetables, whole grains, meats, just really pick any topic, and depending on what's going on, we usually have something in that arena. We also have a program called Wildcat Walkers, which is a self-paced exercise rewards program. And you don't even have to walk. You can run, bike, hike, it doesn't matter, but you still get credit for doing physical activity. And then you earn rewards along the way, t-shirts and fanny packs and sweatshirts.
Fun things. I want to tell you, we're back to exercise, and I've got to tell you the one thing that motivates me the most, and this is Celebrex, so it's really not healthful, but I mean about walking or weight loss, it's about Celebrex. But they say it's simple physics. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. And boy, I get up off that couch
And get moving.
And I tell you, I think if that's simple physics, I'm going to be walking. So that really does hit home with me.
I have so many people in that program who say it's not about the physical activity necessarily, but we send them a log each month, and they want to be sure something's written on that log every day or most days of the week before they send it back.
Is that
And
right?
so that's the motivation, is that I'm doing something and I get to see what I've done.
And I can prove it, and then they send that in, and then they get, is it a monthly, you compile it monthly?
There are certain levels that you earn rewards at, 50 miles, 100 miles, those types of things. So, and we keep track of all that.
Well, Diane, we're almost out of time. Can you think of anything else, any special tips, anything you want to say in closing?
The biggest thing is figure out what you want to do, figure out where you want to get to, and then make a plan for it. Sit down, and then also tell somebody else. That's a big motivator too, because if you know what I'm thinking, you're going to check in on me.
I think that's so good, the buddy plan. Well, you've been listening to Diane Mason. She's with the Boone County Cooperative Extension. Her website and phone number will appear at the end of the show. And I hope you enjoyed her as much as I did. Again, be happy and keep smiling. I'll see you soon.